Okay, okay, here's the deal. See this? Death Star. I'm risking sacrilege. We're risking hatred from a lot of people in what I'm about to say. I just watched the greatest Star Wars movie ever made. I'm going to stand by that. And here's why. Now, if you haven't seen the movie, please turn this off now. Turn this off now. Spoiler alert. Warning, warning, warning. Will Robinson. Spoiler alert. Okay? Rogue One, a Star Wars story, is now, for me, the #1 Star Wars movie of all time. And I think this movie succeeded. It's just the writing, the acting, the directing, the music. I think there are a lot of moments in the other 7 movies. Loved them. I'm a fanboy from day one, 39 years ago, 5-year-old, going to see Star Wars, 44-year-old now, seen every single one of them opening night, 2 or 3 times in the theater, minimum each one, dozens, if not hundreds of times, the originals, right? As an adult, I came to the realization, it wasn't until I was much older in into my adult years where Empire Strikes Back became my favorite movie, and I've had that conversation with so many. Like, we all love the original, but at some point, Empire Strikes Back is the good movie, right? The best movie. They're all space operas, right? And they're bigger than life, and it's, the power of one person. One person can make a difference is really kind of that ongoing stream. It's a team, but it's really that one person can make a difference. Rogue One flips that over. Rogue One is all about sacrificing for the greater good. The team. We are all expendable for the greater good. And I think the greater theme here is, more than any other movie, more than any of the other movies, is that the good guys are going to win because we're willing to sacrifice ourselves for the greater good, where the Empire continually, spoiler alert, continually in this movie, and in the others too, but it's really like, blah, in your face, we're going to sacrifice everybody else for my greater good, right? The greater good of the Emperor, the Emperor is gonna sacrifice you. Lord Vader is gonna sacrifice you. Tarkin. That was cool. Okay. I'm kind of brain farting a lot of things, but Van Helsing from the old Dracula movies with Christopher Lee, right? General Tarkin, who blew up at the end there of Star Wars, he's back. That was cool. There were a few moments where this movie decided to kind of CGI characters who are long dead or who look really differently than they do in real life now, if they're ones that are still around. Young Princess Leia. Don't. If I warned you, so at this point, screw you if you're still watching. Okay, so. But this whole movie, like, no scroll, right? There's no scroll, and people, but I didn't really read up on why there was no scroll. I can tell you why there's no scroll. This is not a space opera in the way that the other 7 movies are space operas. This is a war movie, more so than any other movie. The other movies had war scenes, right? Just amazing battles and sword fighting, all this stuff. This is, I'm going to get into, more specifically in a few minutes. This is a war movie. It's D-Day. It's Iwo Jima. It's Pearl Harbor at times, right? This movie is, at times where it feels like one of those old Captain America, where they're like up in the mountains attacking the Nazi castle. When, it looks like that a little bit. Not so much Captain America, but that World War II Nazi castle. It was but all the characters were real. The motivations of every single one of these characters was real. Again, the acting, the directing, the writing, the CGI that supports it. Even K2, K3. Oh God, I need to watch it again. I'm a little distracted watching this movie because a real a-hole of a fanboy sitting next to me felt the need to tell his wife or girlfriend or whoever she was, who clearly was not a big Star Wars fan, or in his mind not a good enough Star Wars fan, that he had to explain every little thing to her. And I'm like, shut the you-know-what up and let us all experience it for ourselves. I just started giving him the stink eyes. I was like over here, I'm trying to watch a movie. Like in the middle of good parts. Like, I don't know what this guy was thinking he was seeing. He clearly was a fan because he felt the need to for her to enjoy it as much as he was enjoying it. He needs to tell her. So shut up. Go to the movie. Tell yay. You know who just showed up. Oh my God, cameo from the two characters that have been in, I think the only two characters now that have been in every single movie, right? Guess who they are? So, what I think why this movie was so good. This is the movie that so many people tried to make in ripping off Star Wars and building and trying to improve upon Star Wars at the same time, but they didn't have the technology, they didn't have the budget, they didn't have the script to quite do it. But there's this movie because they both do the same thing. The Seven Samurai, the Magnificent Seven, the Magnificent Seven in space, Battle Beyond the Stars, the old Richard Thomas movie, right? And Robert Vaughn and George Papard, all those guys. They did that movie a year or two after Star Wars. What's his name? Roger Corman, right? Or I'm just drawing a blank here. Yeah, Roger Corman produced, directed it. All the monster movie guys, special effects guy. He did that movie where they went around and they had to get all these people to save them from basically their version of the evil empire, the bad guy, right? The huge monster thing, which I think is, if I'm not mistaken, it's the exact same evil spaceship from Last Starfighter. There's a lot of things in that movie, because it's Roger Corman, that are used in other movies. The main spaceship that kind of looks like a hammerhead shark a little bit, I think was used in a TV show at some point in the early 80s. I remember and this used to happen, right? They used to do stuff in movies, they just reuse special effects. They spent so much money on them, and they were real effects, right? They had miniatures. There was that old effect from Superman, the original Superman movie, where he has this big, long, kind of phallic-looking rock, and he pushes it to kind of dam up the river after the dam broke, right? They used that exact same clip at least one other time, I think 2 or 3 other times, but in the old Knight Rider episode. Yeah, I watched too much TV as a kid. I watch too much movies and TV now. That's why I'm making videos. All right, so yada, 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 yada. This movie reminded me of Battle Beyond the Stars more than a Star Wars movie. Other than being in the Star Wars universe, this is the movie that's so... Space Pirates, Ice Pirates, everybody ever see that one? Or Space Pirates where they were trying to get the ice, and they have to go through, and I think they end up at Earth trying to get ice from Earth or something like that. All these movies in the early 80s, they were capitalizing on the Star Wars phenom. There were just dozens and dozens and dozens of them. And there are YouTube videos out there where you can kind of go to see all these movies that were made. Richard Thomas, John Boy, made this one. And it's I think if you watch it now, you're going to be like, what the hell is this? In 1980, 81, whenever they made this, it was a pretty good movie. And it was as good of a knockoff, sequel, rip-off kind of thing as you're going to get. And there was a lot of bad stuff. So... but this was like that, it wasn't just the hero's journey, right? This was the journey of the person, I forget the exact archetype, right? The Star Wars movies are all about the hero's journey with the wizard mentor, right? And the evil, it's very, very black and white. This movie's a lot less black and white. In fact, a lot of times when the rebellion, the politics of the rebellion where, not everybody's all in. Not everybody is about fighting the empire. Where, there's an alliance, but it's a weak alliance. It's very much, you can see what has happened in our own world in the last couple decades where, are we coming together against the Nazis? Are we coming together against Russia? Are we coming together against evil powers in the Middle East and North Korea? And all the politics of not being all in. We know there's atrocities going on, but we're not going to risk our lives. And then along comes this girl, and in that way, it's in that sense, it's the Star Wars thing. It starts with that singular light, but all these kind of figures start to gravitate to her, and by the time they're doing the final kind of thing, and I'm only using, I give more details, but I really don't want this to be too much. I want you to go see the movie. I know there's people watching this right now that haven't seen the movie yet. Please, I want you to watch my videos. Stop, come back. But it's that self-sacrifice, and every single character, the real heroes of this movie, are all, it's a tragedy. And in that sense, maybe it's more Shakespearean than operatic. This is the Shakespeare tragedy, the tragedy of Star Wars. This should be retitled. This is a tragedy. It's one person after another making choices. And in some cases, like a Shakespeare, there's a Iago character, hubris, greed, ego, all that stuff brings his rise and demise, right? From others, their rise and demise comes from their bravery, their self-sacrifice, the realization that we have to pull this off or we die in vain, right? But it's not selfish like that. That's even more selfish. It's not about we need to not die in vain. We need to do this so everybody else out there will survive this monstrosity called the Death Star. And I'm sorry, this is by far the best movie or anything from the George Lucas universe, the Star Wars universe, ever. And I will stand by that, and I am so in love with where this franchise is going. I was always kind of skeptical, the Harrison Ford thing. The Han Solo, the Yoda movies, like they're all, we want to see all these prequels and all these origin stories. And I kept thinking, I think I'm over origin stories. We keep saying if we see another Spider-Man origin movie, I'm becoming a eunuch or something. That's extreme. That's probably not going to happen. But, I just can't another Spider-Man origin story. And thankfully, that's not what we're getting, because we saw the trailer that was on YouTube a few weeks ago was in Star Wars. There's a lot of great stuff coming out. I'm just really excited. All of a sudden, I think the energy is starting to die, because now I'm getting a little tired. But go see this movie. If you haven't seen this movie, why are you still watching? Go see this movie. And let me know after you've seen it. Comment below down there somewhere, and let me know what you think about Rogue One. I am in love. It's weird not having that scroll at the beginning. It's weird we don't get the we don't get the overture, right? And it's an opera. Star Wars is a space opera. We have an overture. We have the final orchestra. If you go to the opera or the Broadway, and they have the whole orchestra playing after the show's done, and most people leave, and those of us who just love John Williams stay there to the end and yeah, orchestra, awesome, yeah. John Williams has saved. In my mind, I'm a diehard Star Wars fan, but John Williams has saved the day time and time again where there were some weird choices. He got us through Phantom Menace. And Phantom Menace, I like Phantom Menace. The second one, Clone Wars. I mean, they're amazing moments. Like some of the best moments. The Yoda. Oh my God, Yoda is going to fight with the lightsaber finally. We've been waiting forever for this. Just a lot of stumbles to get there. There's so many amazing moments. We kept coming back though, right? We kept coming back, and I just watched this whole movie with my fists clenched, ready to pop the guy next to me, and I think I made it known that I was close to it. I kept staring him down, but I need to go see this movie again. without the distractions. But if you've never seen Battle Beyond the Stars, go see it. Richard Thomas. It's got to be on Netflix or one of those. I'm sure it's on Amazon. You might have to pay a couple bucks. If you've never seen it and you're like a big fan of the genre, it's one of those great genre flicks at a time when it was Star Wars and really nothing else, right? We had Battlestar Galactica on TV and Star Wars, and between the two of them, they kind of set the tone for sci-fi ever since, really. And then things have gone different directions, and then Aliens came around, right? And we got The Abyss. We went underwater, and Aliens underwater, and there was an abyss moment. There's an abyss moment in this movie. There's a lot in this movie that I gotta go back and watch it. I mean, the eggs. I mean, the crazy amount of eggs in this movie. I'm not here to talk about eggs right now. There were just so many. I couldn't mentally register. Yes, we get R2-D2 and C-3PO. Yes, we get Darth Vader. Yes, we get oh my God, Red Leader, Gold Leader. We got to meet the original R5. And again, if you're still watching, it's on you, okay? R5, right? Luke Skywalker's predecessor for the call letters R5. We got to see him bite it. The original general, the rebellious general. I forget the actor's name. He's so good. There's just so many things in this movie, and no Chewbacca. There's a lot of things no, that's not Chewbacca. It's a short guy. It's not an Ewok either, but he's kind of like a midget Wookiee. Not like a Ewok. Like he literally had all the fierceness of a Wookiee, just shorter. Some really cool new characters, amazing new kind of creatures. We saw Jabba the Hutt's doorman, or somebody from the same planet, but it looked just like Jabba the Hutt's doorman. I'm guessing it was the same character. There were a lot of things that it could have been the same character, it just could have been a creature from the same world. Oh my God, the guys from the saloon, and when they go to Mos Eisley. Oh my goodness, was it Sabretooth? No, what's his name? Walrus, Tusk. I always had the figure, and I never remembered him from the movie. I had the action figure of the Walrus guy or whatever he was, and the Tusks, and the guy they kind of watch where you're going. I don't do impersonation, so I apologize for that. But they bump into him, right? And we get to see, I guess it's the old Jedi home, Jada, the moon. There's a lot going on there, and I think for a lot of casual observers, I don't know if they'd appreciate it. I don't even know if it's worth going into the Kyber crystal thing. It was a lot better than midichlorians, okay? Let's put it that way. The kind of explanation, prequel stuff to kind of put stuff in, this is why things happen. It made sense. The Death Star is powered by the things that give the lightsaber power. It's just one massive lightsaber. It's pretty cool. I'm in a very happy place. I'm in a good place. I gotta go see this movie. I need to go see this movie at 11 o'clock on Tuesday, not the week after Christmas, the week before Christmas, when all the kids are at school. So many Easter eggs.